The League of Women Voters is a trusted national organization that does not endorse or oppose any partisan candidate or political party. Our members do the hands-on work to safeguard democracy. We are directly involved in shaping the important issues to keep our community strong. As a League of Women Voter member, I have the opportunity to contribute in a leadership role, such as this one tonight, that has a great impact on local, state, and even national issues. If you are interested in learning about how you can make a similar impact, I would encourage you to pick up some of the League's information available here tonight or visit our website at lwvnoc.org. A little bit of housekeeping. Our timekeepers tonight are Marguerite Lyon and Patty Chickahisa. They will raise signs to signal the candidates at 1 minute, 30 seconds, and then stop. Our question sorters tonight are Diane Taylor, Jerry Young, and Cheryl Quadrelli-Jones. They will screen questions to avoid duplication, personal attacks, and questions that do not pertain to the office being sought by these candidates. The timer is responsible to keep the candidates' answers within the established time limits. Typically, a stopwatch is used to track the time. Using cards, the timers will let the candidates know how much time they have left. They will make sure that the candidates do not exceed the time allotted. All questions must be written and submitted to the question sorters. Now, you can do that all through the evening. Anytime you think of a question, you can raise your hand. Someone will bring you something to write on, and you can hand it back, and we will ask it. The question should deal with issues which are relevant to the City Council and are worded legibly and concisely. The sponsors and participants have not authorized any video or audio recordings of this forum. If you know the channel and day and time of showing, you may mention it to whomever. If any recordings are made by any member of the audience, we strongly urge that the forum be recorded in its entirety and not be edited in any way. We are televising tonight, and there will be taping. The FCC requires that videotape of a debate or forum not be edited and must be broadcast in its entirety, either live or reasonably soon after it takes place. Both the FCC and the League want to ensure that information is not manipulated to create false or misleading impressions. Therefore, no candidate is allowed to use or edit footage for campaign purposes. Please turn off all cell phones. Thank you. We have 4 candidates tonight. Number 1 is Susan Sani. Number 2 is Fred R. Smith. Number 3 is Paul D. Gonzalez. And number 4 is Al Salhi. Salhi. I'll get it right. That is the order in which I will be asking the questions. Any questions that are directed to a particular candidate will be answered by that candidate, and then if any other candidate has a remark to make, they may do so. Shall we get started?
Please, thank you.
Crime is an issue throughout the city of Buena Park. How do you plan on curbing the crime in our city? Ms.
If I may interrupt.
Oh, I beg your pardon. I beg your pardon. You do have 2 minutes for an opening statement. Don't let me deprive you of that. Go right ahead.
Thank you so much. Good evening. I'm Susan Sani, and I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters of Northern Orange County for hosting this forum tonight. I've lived in Buena Park for 17 years with my husband Paul and my daughter Angelica. For the past 18 years, I've been employed by Unified Grocers and Commerce, where I am currently an IT Quality Assurance Manager. As a resident of Buena Park, I have been a member of the Buena Park Homeless Committee, the Buena Park Collaborative. I've also served on the Anaheim Poverty Task Force, which seeks to solve homelessness in Orange County. And I am a member of the Police Chiefs Board of Advisors. As a board member, I began seeing the interconnectedness of municipal challenges, and I believe that we need new, innovative, and creative solutions to growing issues. My focus is on expanding community involvement. As your council member, I will work to make City Hall responsive to the needs of residents and encourage greater community involvement in the decision-making process. Affordable housing and good jobs. The cost of living in Buena Park is high, and residents are struggling. We must make choices that ease the burdens of the working taxpayers of our community to help them enjoy a higher quality of life. Public health and safety. We have, thank you, one of the best police departments in the country. I will ensure they continue to have the resources they need to do their jobs effectively. And I have been endorsed by the Orange County Professional Firefighters Association. My name's Susan Sani. I'm the only woman and #1 on the ballot for City Council. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sani. Mr. Smith?
Yes, good evening. My name is Fred Smith. First, I'd like to thank the League of Women's Voters for hosting this forum tonight, and all of you in the audience and all watching at home for taking the time to hear all the candidates running for City Council. I'm a lifetime resident of Buena Park and a small business owner of Smith & Sons Glass located here in Buena Park since 1983, and I have my wife, which I've been married to for 49 years, out in the audience. I'm a strong supporter of education. It is my honor to serve as the Buena Park Mayor and a member of the City Council for the past 8 years. For the past 8 years, we have faced the greatest economic crisis in generations. While many local cities have had to deal with major debt and even bankruptcy, Buena Park remains financially solvent primarily because of the good decisions and the conservative financial choices the City Council has made. Myself and the entire City Council remain committed to developing Buena Park as a destination city. In spirit of the challenging economic times and the elements of our city staff are under our city staff and under the leadership of our City Council, we have completed work on important projects in the city, including development of Beach Boulevard, replacing old motels with entertainment and dining, like Rock and Brew and the new Porto's restaurant, which will be opening soon. Completing the development of our community center, equipping and expanding our senior center, and completing our new police department building, and committing to provide a vital service, ensuring the safety and offering community programs to support our children and seniors without raising taxes. I pledge to continue providing conservative fiscal leadership to support our growth of our city. As the current City Council member and mayor, I'm the only candidate in this election with a demonstrated experience, skill, and a track record of proven services to Buena Park, and I am committed to ensuring. Thank you very much, and I ask for your vote on November 8th.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Mr. Gonzalez?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Paul Gonzalez. I'm a candidate for District Number 3 in Buena Park this year. I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters. I'd like to thank the City Council, including Fred. I'd like to thank the city staff of Buena Park and all of the members of the audience out there today. And I would especially like to thank those watching at home on the television. And I really appreciate you taking the time out to bypass the vice presidential debate. There's a lot of change going on in our city, in our state, in the country, and even the world. And every little thing that affects us in Buena Park may seem like a small scale, but it affects us in terms of how safe we are here. We have threats to us nationally, homegrown terrorists that affect our safety. We have a changing economy. We have changes in the way we vote in this district. We have changes in District Number 3. We have changes in District Number 4. We have changes in the aging population. We have a great economy here. We have a development on Beach Boulevard that is second to none. And also, we have the choice whether or not who's going to be the best or best president in the United States this year. So hopefully we'll try to decide in which direction we're going to go tonight, and hopefully we can clue you in on how some of us approach some of these matters. Once again, my name is Paul Gonzalez. I'm a candidate for District Number 3 in Buena Park, and I appreciate your vote on November 8th. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez. Mr. Salehai?
Hi, my name is Al Salehai, and I'm a proud resident of the city of Buena Park for almost a quarter century. The fact that a skinny guy like me could sit here, strange name, it's actually Salehi, but I go by Salehai to make it easier, is a testament not only to this great nation, but to this great city of ours. See, my family immigrated here in 1975 to get their doctorates, and they wanted to go back, but there was a revolution. And shortly after, in 78, I was born, so I guess technically I'm an anchor baby. And the fact of the matter is that they fought to build a life here. And without having too many language skills, my father bought a lawnmower and started mowing people's lawns in Laguna Beach. Little by little, he got about a bunch of contracts and started putting that money towards buying houses, apartments, and eventually a couple of motels up here. In the 80s, he did the landscaping for what the Food for Less is now. They are heavily mortgaged. The bank, I think, owns like 3/4 of everything, so we never really had any cash growing up. Still never seen it, but he always says everything he does is for us. I'm blessed to have beautiful siblings, one of which is here. I have a brother who's an attorney for the Obama administration. He works in the East Wing of the White House. I have a sister who's a clinical psychologist with UC San Francisco. And my little brother is at UCLA, 6'1", and he started college when he was 14. You have 30 seconds. Why don't you stand up for a second? If just stand up. If the camera will never get you because you're too tall anyway. But he's really a lot of my pride, my family pride. And that success is mainly because of this great environment in Buena Park. I look forward to giving back. That's the only reason I'm running. I retired many years ago. I don't necessarily gain anything here by running. But the biggest thing I believe that I can do is with my background in business technologies, I can help make their city a better city. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Salehai. All right, we'll get back to that very first question I tried to ask you. So we'll ask it one more time so you remember it. And we'll start with Ms. Sani. Crime is an issue throughout the city. How do you plan on curbing it?
As I stated in my opening statement, I believe we have one of the best police departments in the country. And as we continue to support them, I believe they will do an outstanding job of curbing crime in the city. And I think making sure that they have the resources to be fully staffed, which they are not right now, will make the difference in them being able to do what we need them to do to curb crime in Buena Park.
Thank you, Ms. Sani. Mr. Smith?
Yes, well, solving crime and having crime in Buena Park and our police department, we probably have one of the best police departments in Orange County, or in fact in the state. Our police officers, our city council is making sure that they get the best training and we choose the best police officers out there. We are short a few police officers, but we're trying to fill those positions at all time with the best quality of people that we can possibly hire and train to protect our city.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Mr. Smith. Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes. When you look at Buena Park as a whole, you'll see what statistics tell you is that we do have crime in this city, but it's no greater percentage than any other municipality of similar size and character. So we're actually doing quite well in response to major crimes, minor crimes, petty thefts. What we want to do is ensure that our chief has all of the manpower that he needs to fill this city with a complete police force. And if we provide him the manpower, training, education, and resources that they need, including technological benefits, I think that will be okay.
Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez. Mr. Salehai?
Our family has benefited from the police department. When we first came here in the late 90s, there was rampant crime drug-related crime, prostitution, gangs. And with the great relationship that we had with the police department, it has been able to create a better environment. I'm sure not just for us, but for many small businesses in Buena Park. In the early part of the 21st century, the police has done an amazing job. My relationship with the police department has been a good relationship. Even with the Buena Park Library District, we've had a very good relationship with the police department. However, I differ with Fred Smith. Fred Smith wrote an article with the OC Register about 5 or 6 years ago when he got a ticket for lane straddling. Well, normal people, when we get a ticket, we either pay it or we decide to go to court. But when you're the mayor of a great city like Buena Park, you don't have the ability to go and give an interview where the gist of it is, don't respect and trust the police, because his ticket may have been as a result of a conspiracy because of the policies that he had. We need to have the right temperament to be mayor of the city of Buena Park.
Thank you, Mr. Saleh. All right, next question. I have been downsized to part-time hours and now have no medical insurance. Why do our part-time council members receive more than $700 monthly medical insurance, and why does it continue even after they no longer serve? Mr. Smith?
Yes, City Council does receive a stipend for our medical. Anybody that has a staff of elected officials, that's basically one of the perks that you get to encourage a better quality of people to serve on your city council. As far as getting in the future, once we're off council, the city no longer pays it for city council. That is, if you want it, you would have to take it yourself. You'd have to be over 50 years old, and you pay full price for it. So there is no perks after you leave the city council.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Mr. Gonzalez?
Well, as Fred alluded to, most of the municipalities with elected council members actually do provide medical insurance for the city council members, and one of the things that it does is that it ensures that there isn't an open seat or vacancy on your city council by keeping people healthy. So the cost of the medical insurance is very minute in reference to the ability to keep your staff intact and the council intact, rather than accept major changes by trying to fill a vacant or open seat. And one of the things that I benefit from is having health care and health insurance provided by my employer, and I don't even believe that I would even need to have health insurance at this point in time if elected to the city council.
Thank you. Mr. Saleh?
Well, as an elected trustee of the Buena Park Library District, I receive no stipend and no salary. But I don't think the issue of the stipends and salaries is that big of an issue in our budget. Of a $120 million budget, $63 million is from our general fund, and 30 to 40% of that is in the police department. Now, we looked at going with the OC sheriffs as an option a few years ago, but one of the reasons that option didn't pencil out is because of the fact that we have a high CalPERS liability. But if we look to start paying down that CalPERS liability, eventually in the future we might be able to look at other options and needs and necessities that can help to bring down that entire budget. I think that transparency and negotiation transparency is a very important thing. And later on, I want to talk about what many of you know is a huge embezzlement scandal. Multiple millions of dollars were stolen, and 2 people were convicted just last year for money that was stolen from the Park and Rec Fund. These kind of things need to be open, they need to be transparent, and those are the areas of the budget that I feel we should be working on.
Thank you, Mr. Saleh. Ms. Sally?
Yes. Well, I think instead of asking why anyone is getting a stipend for health care, we should be asking why everybody is not getting health care. I think human beings all deserve to have health care. And we know with the rising cost of health care that the stipend is not huge. Even more importantly, whoever serves on the council for you needs to be earning that. So if we're working really hard and we're doing our job, we're earning it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next question. What do you hope to accomplish if elected? Mr. Gonzalez?
My goal, if elected city council member, District Number 3, is to keep Buena Park on the right path. We're doing quite well economically. We have low crime rates compared to other cities. And I think the future, and we have developments that are bringing in more dollars than for the future. One of them is The Source. Another one is Porto's Bakery, which I can't wait to see. And we have Rock and Brews and another of other restaurants that are opening here. And I think that if we just keep Buena Park rather than change in that direction, I think we'll be fine.
Thank you, Mr. Salehigh.
Yes. Well, my district, I believe, is the district that really provides the most to Buena Park. And we, I think, need to start giving back to District Number 3. One big concern of mine is the traffic. You see, Highway 39, which I've been really working on for a long time as a private citizen, is undergoing a beautification project, but it also needs better traffic solutions. I mean, you have hundreds of signs showing you how to get to Disneyland, but what signs do you have showing you what lane to get into Knott's Berry Farm? I know it may sound trivial, but the fact of the matter is many of us who are trying to get home have to sit behind major traffic just to get there. And then factually, so many cars see Knott's all of a sudden, and they swerve all the way to the side, many times causing more traffic problems and issues with accidents. But if we have a dedicated lane for Knott's, or at the very minimum signs saying this way for Knott's, simple solutions like this can go a long way. I also look forward to helping small businesses as far as issues that they may have with code enforcement, as far as incentives, because the city gives incentives now, like we did for Rock and Brews. Those are the kind of things that I'd like to do for my district.
Sonny?
Yes. As I said, encouraging community involvement, encouraging residents to learn more about our community, to make things available for them to understand so that they can participate more in decision making. We have challenges that we're going to be facing in the years to come. We're opening up the entertainment corridor, which is a wonderful way of attracting people to our beautiful city, and we're very excited about that. And we have to balance that with the extra demand on services from our police department, with the traffic that it causes, with parking issues. So those are challenges that are going to require a lot of creative solutions. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Salehigh, we'll start with you on the next question. Who has contributed to your campaign fund?
As of now, I'm the only one who...
Excuse me.
I didn't get that.
Oh, I beg your pardon. Go right ahead. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. As far as what do I expect to complete or accomplish when if I'm reelected, I want to finish Beach Boulevard, which people that are involved in Buena Park and in Beach Boulevard understand and know about all the signage that we have just purchased and actually is being installed this very week. We have some of the up-to-date, modern, directional service and signage going in on Beach Boulevard. We've actually replanted trees. We've moved forward into the next century, basically, on how to get into our different venues and different events. And that's one of my dreams, is finishing Beach Boulevard, which will make Buena Park a destination that everybody will want to come to. And that's the direction we are going now, and I would like to finish.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Salehigh, you can continue.
As of right now, I am the only one who invests in my campaigns. Usually that is the case. I don't like to be beholden to anyone for votes. I'm lucky enough to be able to be in that position. I retired around the age of 21, 22 to be precise. I invented an audio-video technology that I later licensed, and it's given me that ability to be flexible and give back to my community. But I couldn't have done that without a strong family, without a strong city, and without proper education. See, I went to Laguna Beach High School, UCLA, USC, and then later on to Harvard University for a professional degree certificate in library technologies. The fact of the matter is we need those kind of abilities, and I want to be able to establish a STEM library dedicated for kids to give them that ability. There was a time that it took a century to develop new technologies. Now new technologies are being developed daily. To be competitive for tomorrow, our kids need to have that access, and I want it to be my pride to help and contribute to that STEM library to build for their future and their future success.
Ms. Sani? Who has contributed to your campaign fund?
Okay. Well, I have a number of friends and neighbors who have contributed small amounts. I've recently received a donation from the Orange County Professional Firefighters Association. And there have been promises of other donations, but primarily I have been funding my own campaign.
Smith?
Yes. I've got a lot of donations. In fact, I am been so blessed with the people of Buena Park that live here in Buena Park and have business in Buena Park that want to see me be reelected because they feel that I am doing a wonderful job, and they've made sure that I have the money to move forward with my campaign. So I've been very lucky. A lot of campaign contributions from a lot of people in this city. Thank you.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes, you know, I've been up here a number of times in different elections for city council, and one of the basic ideas is just to put your money where your mouth is, and I actually don't accept contributions and use my own funds to run my campaigns over the years.
This question is directed to Mr. Salhai. Does the city of Buena Park recycle, and if so, how do they recycle? And after Mr. Salhai answers, if anyone else wants to make a comment, let me know.
Yes, we do have a recycling system here in Buena Park. We also have a lot of local recycling centers. And then we also have individuals who come. I know for my family's property, we have a guy who comes out on a cart and actually takes stuff out of the dumpster for us and then takes it to the recycling centers. I think that it's great that the community gets involved. I know that we have our own system, but I think the most important thing that we need to look at as far as recycling is concerned is how we decide to recycle our properties when we had RDA monies. You see, the fact of the matter is that was the biggest recycling ability that we ever had. We had $25 million reoccurring over and over again to get all these lots and make a better city for ourselves. But the problem is we made bad decisions. Fact of the matter is we were greedy. We took over some properties, we left some properties blank. Effectively speaking, when other properties people came to develop it, we were trying to get the top dollar, and when it was taken away from us, those lots stayed vacant almost for over 10 years. When I talked to the city manager himself, he told me he would have been willing to give them away for free because at least that way we could have had more property tax and sales tax. That's the kind of recycling I believe we need to work in and invest in.
Thank you. Mr. Smith?
Yes, I believe the recycling we're talking about is our trash. And yes, we do have recycling here in the Buena Park, probably one of the best in the county. It's very simple. You dump everything except for your lawn cuttings into one barrel. We send it to a trash center, which is in the city of Stanton, and they actually separate everything and send it to landfills or recycle it, cans, plastic. It's all separated correctly so we don't damage the environment. We do the best, probably we're considered one of the best with EDCO, which does recycle our trash here in the city. Thank you.
Yes, we've been to the other cities, and you've seen the multiple barrels, so with a green barrel and a gray barrel and a blue barrel, and it actually works. And one of the reasons why is, as Fred alluded to, is that our trash and waste that they pick up at our curb every whichever one day a week, whichever it is, Monday through Friday, actually goes to a place called a transfer station. And it's a transfer station at this station. Actually, it's a place where there's a lot of employees, and their actual function is to sort all of the different wastes into different products and recycle those. So there's very little of the trash or waste that actually does go to landfills in our fine city, and we recycle most of the goods that we could throw into those containers. The only other container, waste that we have is the recycle of the green waste, and we actually recycle those, provide it in compost, and give it back to our citizens.
Thank you. All right, we'll start with Ms. Sani again. Our present pension system is untenable. Are you aware of how much of the police payroll is spent on pensions, and what is your plan to remedy this?
I know that there is a large amount in the pension system, and our police force puts their lives on the line daily to keep us safe. And having a sufficient pension for them is an appropriate thing for the city to be able to provide. We do have to balance the budget, though, and we have to make trade-offs, and we have to look at what is good for the city. So it's a complex question and one I'm not prepared to answer in detail here today. It's a challenge that has to be hit head on and dealt with. So as a member of the city council, I would be prepared to do that with the other council members. Thank you.
Smith?
Yes, it's called unfunded liability, and our police officers, or actually all police officers in all cities, have unfunded liability due to our CalPERS system. It's put together with financial backing, and everything's basically done in the stock market. So if the stock market's high and we make a lot of money, our unfunded liability is low. If it goes the opposite way, which it has in the past, then we have a lot of unfunded liability for the police department. And we have dealt with it in the past. We have put out loans so we can get lower interest rates to fund that unfunded liability, because our police officers, we have to be competitive, and being competitive does create an unfunded liability, and we have managed it here in our city probably better than a lot of the other cities, and it's just something that we have to deal with our budget, and right at this time, we're doing a very good job dealing with the unfunded liability.
Thank you. Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes. One of the things that you look at in our municipal budget is the cost of manpower. How much does it cost to employ an individual? And the retirement package that we offer our police force actually must be competitive with the other cities and municipalities, counties that are all searching for police officers. You know, it's a dangerous job. It is. It's actually a dangerous job, and a lot of other cities are searching for the manpower to fill those vacant jobs because people just don't want to sign up, and it takes the incentives of a good salary and a good retirement package and including a health care plan to encourage and get the best employees that you can have for a city police agency like ours. And we have a great police department here, and I'm proud to say that they're one of the best in the nation.
Thank you. Mr. Salehigh?
Yes, I kind of alluded to this answer already in a previous question, but the fact of the matter is that as we bring our CalPERS liability down, we will then become a little more competitive in the future to be able to take other bids from other agencies. Doesn't mean that we're going to go with them, but whenever you open up something to a free market and be able to allow the free market to analyze the situation, I believe, and I've seen in my own experience, positive results. But I am a big supporter, as I said, of our police department, and the Buena Park, I know, stands up for its police. The fact of the matter is that these people put their life on the line for us every day, and they should not be put in a position to be second-guessed. They should not have articles written about them saying that they shouldn't be trusted. As a matter of fact, I heard twice that crime is low, but after speaking with the police department, apparently property crime is up. Coincidentally, in the last 5 to 6 years, it's increased significantly. The fact of the matter is that we need to take steps to remedy those situations. Also, to protect our police and our citizens, I would encourage Chief Sinus' initiative to put body cams on all of our uniformed officers. We have about 89 sworn officers, and they will have it. That is something I would support when I'm elected to the City Council.
Thank you. What do you see as the city's role in dealing with homelessness? Is there networking in place to work with neighboring cities? Mr. Gonzalez, do you want to answer that?
Yes. As you see, Buena Park, our great city, does have quite a few homeless people living in very different parts of the city, and we try to address the issue by feeding them, offering counseling, providing housing. But one of the greatest things we can do is providing housing to our homeless population. One of the things we do is we started a county-wide program where we're engaging cities, special districts, And our County of Orange actually is taking the lead on addressing the homeless population in our local cities and special districts. And I hope if we just team up with our county agencies, we'll be able to deal with it in a efficient manner.
Elhai?
This is a complex issue that myself and my family have been working on for almost 20 years now. Many people, homeless has a series of definitions. Some have mental disorders, some have post-war symptomatic disorders as veterans, some are addicts, some weren't homeless but became homeless due to the recession. We've helped house many of these people in my family's establishments. In some cases, some of them have gotten back up, like the case with Sarah Solaris that was reported in the OC Register. And some other cases, some were pushed out due to antiquated city laws. One's called the 30-day stay ordinance. You can Google it and learn more about that as well. Fact is that I was on the John and Ken show twice recently talking about the homeless issue in Orange County, specifically also at the courthouse, and what we can do to remedy these situations. Obviously, it should not always be treated by police. I think the Christian way to do this is to give proper counseling, to work with them, to help them back on their feet. But we also cannot ignore it and just let it sit and populate our district.
Ms. Sani?
Yes. A great number of Buena Park residents have told me that this is one of their major concerns, the growing number of homeless people. Even though our community is compassionate about their plight, they still experience fear and discomfort at seeing many homeless people in their neighborhoods. The amount of taxpayer dollars spent in emergency services, not to mention that other calls may not get the attention, it costs more than to house the homeless. There are communities across the country that have proven this and are making substantial progress in solving the issue of chronically homeless. Bear in mind that this issue will continue to get worse as the income divide grows. Seniors are now having to choose between medications, utility bills, or rent and mortgage. We need to provide sufficient affordable housing to not strand our seniors and other community members with restricted income. The county has a 10-year plan. It's underfunded. We need to work with the county to make this work. Thank you.
Mr. Smith?
Our city council is working very hard. We've actually went to an outside firm, CityNet, to help us deal with the homeless. Homeless is a problem no matter where you live in any state or in the United States. Homeless is a problem. We are working with it. We've actually have 2 dedicated police officers, which is not only educating the homeless and finding out who the homeless are, they're educating the businesses and our citizens here in Buena Park how to deal with homelessness. It's something which it is very hard to work with, but we're doing a great job right now. In fact, we've actually taken about 40 people off the streets just in the last 6 or 7 months. So we're working diligently to make homeless a problem that we can work with and make it actually go away, we hope. It's been there for a long time, but we are dealing with it and we are getting success.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This question is directed toward Mr. Gonzalez, but you may comment after he answers. Would you support a new system in Buena Park that would give the community a process to remove any or all planning commission members?
One more time, please.
One more time.
Oh, no, could you rephrase it one more time, please?
You want me to repeat the question?
Yes, please.
Would you support a new system in Buena Park that would give the community a process to remove any or all planning commissioner members?
I got it. Well, actually, we live with bylaws and the ordinances and laws and rules and regulations of our fine city. I was a planning commissioner on this city, and I was appointed by our city council. And one of the things about commissions, committees, advisory committees is that they actually help the city. And I definitely would not encourage community decision-making at this point. I think that our city staff and city council have do their due diligence in selecting the best candidates for any commission and committee, definitely including the planning commission of our fine city. Thank you.
Anybody else wish to comment? Mr. Smith?
Yes. Oh, the Planning Commission is probably one of the best or hardest working commissions in our city. A commission like the Planning Commission is actually an extension of the City Council. There's no way that the City Council has enough time to go over everything, every project that's built in the city. So we appoint qualified people to help us with the different projects in the city. They're very knowledgeable. They make sure that everything is to city code, run before staff, and then on big projects, then it actually comes back to the City Council. But the City Planning Commission is probably one of the greatest functions of our city as far as a commission. It's a very commission that is very well sought after, and we have very qualified people, and I think it's a great thing, and we need it in all cities. Thank you.
Anyone else care to comment? Ms. Sonny?
I think the question points to a frustration that may exist of people not feeling heard or not feeling like they're allowed to be a part of the process of decision-making within the city. And I think it's important that the City Council ensures that citizens are heard, they have an opportunity to speak on the things that are important to them, and they have an opportunity to know the pertinent facts about decisions that are being made. One of my commitments, if I am elected, is to hold regular meetings with members of my district to hear what their concerns are, their questions, and what they think solutions, the creative solutions we need to be offering up. Thank you.
Belhar?
Yeah, I believe in a open government system. Now, obviously, we have rules and regulations. Planning Commission is appointed by City Council, but I do believe that there should be technologies in place where every kind of a vote, any kind of a vote, is a vote that you can go on to your local city website, and you, as putting in your registration ID number, can have an input to at least give an online poll and a survey at any given point in time and direct the City Council to see where the pulse of the city is. As long as we know what's going on and what our people want, well, that's the way we need to vote. I mean, after all, that is the fundamental concept of a representative democracy. That's something I look forward to working on with and opening that kind of a technology solution for. Also, the Planning Commission recently helped to negotiate a deal for the sign at the source. You see, we invested, our tax dollars are in the source. We contributed a motel and a gas station to the source. But the City Council hasn't even allowed them to put up a sign for themselves. So the Planning Commission got involved. They were able to negotiate a deal, which I'm hoping, Fred, you'll accept it and allow the source to have a sign, advertise their own property, and other things that they would like to advertise on that sign.
Thank you. This question is directed toward Ms. Sonny and then Mr. Smith, and then, of course, you may comment if you like. So let's start with Ms. Sonny. Of the many development programs going up on Beach Boulevard, most are using discounted redevelopment business enjoys building on land paid for by taxpayers, or EB5 programs such as The Source, promoting acquisition by foreign countries. What programs or plans do you have where a domestic company will invest in Buena Park without using taxpayer dollars?
New development is complex and challenging. Not only do you have to look at the people that are interested in investing and coming into Buena Park and creating business here, you have to look at what businesses are going to serve the interest of Buena Park. I think you have to look at primarily what is it going to cost in taxpayer dollars? What are we paying? What is the return on investment going to be? And what is the cost in additional services? What additional jobs and benefits may come from it? And also, what is the cost to the taxpayers in terms of traffic, parking, pollution, and those sorts of issues. And all of that has to be discussed as a whole in order to make those kinds of decisions.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Yes, well, redevelopment money is tax dollars, our taxpayers' dollars, but it was designed to stop blight and bring better projects to each city. It's not giving something away for nothing. It's actually bringing something that's better for your community. And then going to EB5 money. EB5 money was created by the federal government to create dollars to be brought to the United States to develop projects. And with the project, they have to create jobs. So when you have EB5 money, which you go to China or wherever you go to pick it up, Korea, there's a lot of different places that get EB5 money. It actually is cheaper money. They can build a better project for less money, and it puts people to work. If you read the sign, it says, EB5 money used here, we're putting 2,000 people to work. So it's a great thing. It's something that helps builders build since the California has taken away redevelopment. So it's one of our key points in being able to bring development to us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Gonzalez?
On this point, the question is about development in Buena Park, and I totally agree with Fred on the EB5 definition and the processes that he explained to us. What the other part of the question that you asked actually alludes to the properties and the old redevelopment money that we had used to entice different developers to come to Buena Park. I was on the planning commission when the projects were proposed over and over and over again, and recession onset, and just as every municipality tried to deal with redevelopment and the end of redevelopment systems. And we had a project that was just that needed some assistance in order to move forward. And so the small amount of properties that were provided to the developer is very, very infinitesimal in compared to the return. And the return, I mean, is jobs, tax dollars, and benefits to the city as a whole.
Thank you. No?
Yes.
Yes, go
Yeah.
right ahead.
Look, I'm all for investment. Investment in our city from any source, I think, is a good investment. But if I was to talk about domestic investment, I think we should start first by people who are already shareholders in our city, our small business owners. You see, the small business owners are the lifeblood of this city. Those are the people who should be given, in my opinion, primary consideration. What many of you don't know is that we have about $9 million of RDA money left. And some of that money, about half of it, has been used for Highway 39, and the other half has been used specifically to give these easements, these 20 to 25-foot easements where we can build things. For example, the Rock and Brew sign, we paid for it. It's a part of an incentive package that we give them. But what about all the other small businesses? I don't see city council knocking on businesses that have been here, the lifeblood of our city for a long time, and saying, what can we do for you? How can you have a piece of that money? I think first we need to look to ourselves, how we can make ourselves grow better into small mom and pop shops like Fred Smith Glass, and be able to move that forward. And then that way we can develop a better and stronger Buena Park.
Thank you. Prop 64, which is the legalization of marijuana, may pass. What repercussions do you see might arise from the legalization of it? What would you do if problems result? Ms. Sani?
Well, I think it's pretty likely that it will pass. There's a great deal of public agreement on the legalization of marijuana. And I think there's also a great deal of interest in the tax dollars that have been generated in other states by the legalization of marijuana. Primarily, we'll abide by the law because we're required to do that. Having marijuana legalized will allow us to put restrictions and controls on it, much the way that alcohol and tobacco has. And I believe it will help us to keep it out of the hands of young people, which is, I think, will be a benefit. And we may have more challenges for our police department, and I believe our department is up for the challenge.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Yes, there's no doubt that marijuana will be legalized. We've looked at the vote, but this city is already creating a plan. We go to seminars. We actually find out how it works. It's a great tax revenue that everybody sees all this money coming in and everything. So it's undoubtedly that will be here. We're working on a plan to be able to control the area it goes into and the type cells, the times they are open and closed, because in other cities it has created a great big problem, and we do want to take care of it. And this city has stepped forward to create and make proper rules to control marijuana if it should become law.
Thank you.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Gonzalez?
Yes, the legalization of marijuana and from Prop 64, I'm not so sure it's going to pass. You do surveys and analysis and statistical analysis and say, well, I think it's going to pass. Well, if it does pass, we'll deal with it. One of the things we do is we have problems with the non-legalized marijuana right now, and so if we legalize it, tax it, organize it, figure out a way to deal with the little problems that are going to occur with Prop 64, I don't think it'll be much of a problem at all for our city.
Thank you. Mr. Salehite?
This has multiple layers. First layer is that the will of the people must be looked at and taken care of. And if the will is to legalize it, then so be it. However, with that kind of a responsibility comes education. Once it becomes an open issue and it is a gateway drug, we owe it to our children to educate them on the harm that marijuana can create in your body, in your environment, and for your future. It should not be taken lightly. However, there are great tax advantages, they've got great fiscal advantages, but remember, the core of our society is the future, and the future are our kids. With that comes that education that I'm talking about, and that leads back to that STEM library that I want to help develop. If we can get together with small kind of a contribution and setup from our initial funds, we can create that kind of a system whereby much of these kinds of plans and tools are given to our future kids to how to deal with these kind of new challenges, along with the same old challenges that we've been dealing with. Drugs are as old as the beginning of time, and it's something that we as a community need to fight for stronger policies and how to keep our community safe.
Thank you. Aside from mass transit, how would you propose to implement improved connectivity within our existing infrastructure? Mr. Smith?
Well, the federal government come up with a ruling, SB 375, reduce your carbon footprint. And Buena Park, with the development we've got going on Beach Boulevard, with our low to mod income housing on Stanton and Orangethorpe, all the different projects we've put together, we've tried to follow that footstep and try to keep everybody together where you live, play, and work in the same carbon footprint. So we're reducing the impact on society basically within our city by creating all these new shopping centers, living quarters for different people, and that's exactly what we're doing, and that's the direction we're going. I think we're doing the right thing. Thank you.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Rephrase the question, please, one more time.
Aside from mass transit, how would you propose to implement improved connectivity within our existing infrastructure?
Oh, this is one of the things that Fred had just alluded to a second ago, is that we have developments along our entertainment corridor. We have developments on Orangethorpe. We have housing projects. We have live-work facilities. We have training facilities embedded into our condominium projects. And one of the things that we talked about when we created our general plan is how do you get people to move from one place to another, even with or without mass transit? That would mean cars, automobiles, bicycles, and one of the greatest things I think that is yet to come is the meandering walkways that we have planned for along Beach Boulevard, Orangethorpe, aligned with trees, wider sidewalks, a little bit more encouraging place to walk and ride your bike, and make it easier for you to go from one venue to another within walking distance.
Thank you. Mr. Salehigh?
Well, I think that there's two types of different interconnectivity. One is through transit, and I talked about that with increasing our engineering for our traffic cameras, our systems. We've had the loop system since the beginning of time, and our video encoding system is over 15 years old. That is something that I think is imperative. But I think the major type of traffic that we need to be looking to improve is cyber traffic. This is a new century. I was an ambassador to the North Orange Chamber of Commerce. That chamber no longer exists. I don't think that people in my generation are actually knocking on these chambers and saying, hey, can you give me some reviews about what businesses are good? We look to Yelp and we look to other places to be able to move forward. We need to take our city online. We need to integrate our city so that people realize how great we are and what we're doing, especially now. The light is shining on us now, and that is the type of traffic we need to be investing in. The 21st century offers a digital highway that we need to be all in. It's not enough to just have a shiny new iPad every year that the city provides to you and say, look, I know about technology. The fact is we need to invest in it and bring in those tax dollars so that we can benefit.
Thank you, Ms. Ani.
Yes, I believe the revitalization of downtown Buena Park and creating the entertainment corridor is going to be bringing all of us together a lot more. And I love the meandering pathways idea. Having people out and walking and is terrific. I think we also need bike paths. We need to be a lot more open to, especially young people love to bike everywhere, and we need to make that a better and safer alternative in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. This question is directed to Mr. Salehigh. However, you may comment afterwards. Since the council sets employee pay, do you support equal pay for both men and women?
Absolutely. I believe that equal pay for both men and women is a priority. I don't think it should even be a question. I don't even believe sex should be an issue. The fact is potential, capability, direction, and will is an issue. When I invest in employees, I always look to see where their vision is, where their background is, and how much they can contribute, not only to the company, but to the spirit of a system. That is what we need to contribute. I mean, I look to my own mother, who's sitting here today. She has gone through so much difficulty and has put up with so much to raise such a wonderful family. And I'm in that debt. And if I could have half the strength that my own mother has, then I would be a much more successful person moving into the future. That kind of strength, especially the strength that women have, especially in America, is the strength that we need to be looking at. They say in the old culture, men may be the head, but women are the necks that turn that head. And I'm a strong sponsor and supporter of strong women moving into the 21st century. Thank you.
Anyone else care to comment? Ms. Sani?
Well, as the only woman on the panel, I will say without a doubt, of course, we should have equal pay. It shouldn't be a question. There has been a discrepancy in salaries between men and women for far too long, and it's time we walked into the future and equality and made that a common and assumed happening. Thank you.
Mr. Smith?
The city of Buena Park does believe in equal pay for women, man or woman. We have our resource department. We've actually have each classification of our job classification has a pay schedule, and it has nothing about sex on it. If you're in that pay classification, whether you're man or woman, you receive the same amount of pay. And our council believes in that. And that's the direction we've been in a long time. We believe in transparency. You can look at everybody's pay scale or pay record right online. Just go to the city of Buena Park. But yes, we do believe in it, and that's the way it should be. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes, it's a very, very simplified question. Equal pay for the equal amount of work, and you're right. As everyone up here on the dais has exclaimed and reiterated over and over again, is that it's not correct. Although it's a factor in everyday life that it does exist, and just by statistical averages, you can see how the highest corporate executives are mostly male-dominated people making the highest salaries ever. It will change, and the way we change it is start now. we become aware of the differences and the salary caps and schedules, and we'd like to see that change.
Thank you. This question is directed towards Ms. Sani and Mr. Gonzalez. Many cities around Buena Park enjoy an historical park or area where the history of the city's historical structures are kept and preserved. Buena Park has two that are in question at this time: the old Women's Club building. I don't know if that's old women or the building is old.
Actually, both.
And old Bud Caldwell barn. Is Bud old or is the barn
Bud
old?
Hurlbutt.
Okay.
Bud Hurlbut.
Off of Western. Do you believe in historical preservation? And if so, what are your plans for these two old historical buildings? Ms. Sani first and then Mr. Gonzalez.
Absolutely, I believe in historical preservation. We do not go wisely into the future if we do not understand our past. And honoring those things that were there at the beginning, I think, is important for all of us. Those buildings, there have been quite a number of challenges and discussions about how to preserve those buildings. I don't believe anyone has come up with the best solution yet, but it's something that we should continue to work on and ensure that they are here in this city, honored and preserved and available for our young people to see and understand the past. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes. You know, this city of Buena Park was incorporated in about the year of 1953. And before that, we were mostly an agricultural area, lots of dairy land around here. There's very few historical, and I do mean historical, 100-year-old, 90-year-old, 80-year-old properties that do exist in Buena Park. And just to save two properties, I think would be okay. But we don't actually have a major historical district as in many of the other municipalities that have been around here forever and ever and ever. So in terms of the responsibility of the property owner, if they wish to save these properties, that's fine by me, without us demanding or providing legislation to enable it into an historical district.
Thank you. Mr. Smith?
Yes, I believe in saving the older homes here in Buena Park, to save the past, like the Women's Club we were talking about, and Bud Hurlbutt's barn. But we have to also look at it on what is the cost to save those, and what is the history of the Women's Club or the barn. The Women's Club we could never replace if we should lose that. The City Council has worked diligently to try to save that, and that's the direction I think everybody wants to go. Some properties you have to look at what is it going to cost and what is it really worth. So you have to take each piece of property on its worth at the time, and is it really worth, or is it financially worth saving? Because you can never replace history. Once you tear it down, it's gone forever. But anything we do here in the city or any city, it takes a majority, 3 votes. So you have to have 3 votes if we want to save it in the end.
I think the biggest area of focus when it comes to historical preservation should be our open spaces and our parks. Buena Park is home to 11 beautiful parks. And as we move forward, sometimes we lose focus and we start to become all about pro-development, which of course has its consequences for traffic and such. But it should never be at the cost of our open spaces and our parks. This is a commitment that we have to our future and to our kids, because without parks, we'd just be Buena. And that's just no bueno. The other issue is signs. We have a lot of historical signs that are neon, but our current sign codes don't allow those signs to even be created. If you take them down, you can't put them back up again, because I think it's a policy of the Irvinification of Buena Park. But you see so many people going to California Adventure and paying money to see old signs and old chic mid-century modern signs, and I think that's a great part of the history of Buena Park. So that's another kind of preservation that I'd like to see, and I'd like to see a modification for that moving forward.
Thank you. How do financial political contributions affect the decision-making of council members? Should a council person abstain or recuse when a particular interest comes for a vote? Mr. Gonzalez?
Actually, for me, as I mentioned earlier today, is that I don't accept campaign contributions because of the potential effect or the appearance of impropriety of voting on something that someone had given a campaign contribution to you. So I'm a little distant from that ever happening, and I hope it doesn't happen here. But one of the things that we have to deal with is campaign finance laws. And campaign finance laws are intricacy of millions of different aspects of it that are very hard to decipher. And whether or not a project or a proposal that's before you is determined by law of when you're voting, when you have that campaign contribution to your campaign. And so it's just the laws that are already in place that determine whether or not you're going to vote or not whether or not you feel good or bad at an item, or if you feel an allegiance to someone who give you a campaign contribution.
Thank you. Mr. Salehai?
Look, if it's an obvious impropriety and you're going to benefit yourself, then I think we should look to finding a way to excuse yourself. But when in fact you are fighting for a cause, you're fighting for, let's say, small businesses, you're fighting for projects that are going to help benefit the future of your city, well, you better bet your last dollar I'm going to be voting on those topics. If you've come to me, if I've knocked on your door and you said something's important to you, and we get there together to a point that we can make it a difference, I'm going to be there and I'm going to support it, and I'm going to be voting all the way with you. I'm here to take direction, and most importantly, I'm here to listen. I'm here to listen to the concerns of the people of Buena Park. I am a fighter. I don't necessarily try to go along just for the sake of getting along. I like to make a difference in my city. Please feel free to call me. My cell phone number is 714-655-5702. I'm here to help you build a better Buena Park.
Ms. Sani?
As long as campaign contributions are legal within the campaign laws of the city, the state, the country, I have no problem with those. As far as decisions that are made by the city council, they should always be made with the benefit and the will of the residents of Buena Park in mind. And if decisions are being made to benefit the residents, if the benefits are being made, if the decisions are being made based on what the council has learned as the will of the people, then I don't think there's any question. Thank you.
Mr. Smith?
Campaign funds are contributions, all governed by law. They're all public information. In fact, now we have a special form that we have to fill out if you get a contribution over $1,000 within 24 hours. They're all regulated, and they're wide open for anybody to see. And when you accept a contribution from anybody, it doesn't make a difference if they got a project going or would like to have a project. They're trying to get the best qualified person, and the person, if you do accept a contribution from somebody, you have to make sure that you're following all the rules and you're looking at what's best for the city. The contribution has nothing to do with anything other than something they want to do to keep you elected or whatever. But contributions are governed by the law and they're public information. So I really don't see, because anybody at any time can look at them and see where they're at. So it's perfectly fine. Thank you.
Thank you. What is your assessment of the commercial design standards in terms of production and implementation? And what is your commitment to improving those ordinances for land use?
You asked me the question?
You can start.
Okay.
You can start.
Designs and things actually have to come before the Planning Commission, or anything, any type of a building or design comes before the City Council and then to the Planning Commission. and we try to figure out if it's going to fit with the rest of the city. We're not going to put something up that's built upside down and crooked, and it's an eyesore. We try to do what's best for the city. If it fits in, if it's Spanish style, or if it's Mediterranean of some sort, or whatever type of style it is, we try to look at it. And of course, the person has bought the property. If they've got a theme, sometimes it does change a little bit, but that's all up to the planning commission and, in the end, the city council. But we try to pick things that look good and match. But sometimes you do get some that's built a little bit strange, and that's because we do have an entertainment corridor here in the city. But as far as your residential, we try to stay pretty uniform. Thank you.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes, I wasn't too sure about the question, but I do appreciate the way Fred answered that question. One of the things that you do is any municipality, especially in Buena Park, we have a planning commission, which I was a member of for a number of years, and we see many projects come along with different color schemes, different facades. Many that you would say doesn't belong in Buena Park or doesn't even belong in Orange County. And one of the things that we do is determine what does fit for Buena Park to the best of our abilities, and that's why we have so many members of the Planning Commission, and we have the City Council to determine whether or not something fits right within our city. Those are the things that just make it a great place to be in Buena Park, and we have people that are watching out for our best interests, and what, as you referred to, what's production and implementation, and that's I would say that's the development of properties.
Mr. Salehigh?
Yeah, well, I have some comments on this. I do believe that it is imperative that we look to making the right decisions for the right developments for our future, and at the same time making sure that the developments that we come up with are beneficial for everybody. But I also feel that we should not be looking at nitpicking and micromanaging those developments. I was at a city council meeting a little while ago with a major development that we were doing on Orangethorpe. My friend Victoria Choi was involved with that one. And I remember Planning Commission had worked on it, and they were just looking for the entitlement. Everyone was moving forward, but the only person who seemed to have a problem was Fred Smith, because he didn't quite like the shade of color of the outside of that development. It's a true story. Please look this up. It came down to that one issue, because if we weren't able to make him happy, that huge development may not have been put into place. This is, again, goes to temperament. I do not believe that the people should be played with. I don't believe developers should be held on a little string on a whim. It should be fair, balanced, and an equal approach moving into the future.
Thank you. Ms. Sani?
The general plan for Buena Park and other development plans that have been created have sought to create a sort of general idea of a design that is unique to Buena Park and puts that stamp that is unique to us. I believe that the people of Buena Park sometimes like that, and sometimes they have problems with it, but I believe our Planning Commission does an excellent job of bringing those issues out, and as long as the people have an opportunity to have a say and to be heard about what they see as the changes coming and how that impacts what they believe their city, when people are coming to visit, how they want to present, then I think that we'll be continuing to do a great job of designing for Buena Park.
Thank you. What are your goals for the entertainment zone, and would you support an electric bus or trolley system to service that zone, the shopping area, the senior housing, and low-income areas?
Mr. Smith, are you looking at me? Oh, okay. If you don't call my name, I read your mind. Okay. Yes, I would support electric or any type of a trolley to go to the different venues within the city. We have a bus system now called ART, which we have here in the city, which takes you from your hotels, from Knott's Berry Farm to Disneyland. It takes you all over. In fact, it stops at Medieval Times and Pirates right now. And when Butterflies gets here, it'll be actually going to stop there. So I believe in the transit system, whether it's gas or electric. We're going to use what's the most efficient and green. But we do have a little transit system now that if people would pay attention sometimes, that they would know that we are already going in that direction, and I think that's the direction we should be going into. Thank you.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes, actually, as long as the service that we propose, either electric, gas, or whatever is to come in the near future for our transit system, for our trolleys actually, doesn't detract from the ridership of our own bus service, our municipal bus service, which has declining ridership. It's trying to effect ways to make it sustainable at this point in time. So as long as we don't have any negative impact on our regular bus services for our cities and locales, I'm all for an additional trolley system to actually tie together the entertainment corridor from the north, south, east, and even to the west side of the city.
Mr. Salehigh?
Yeah, obviously, I'm all for transit systems, and I think that the more commuting that you have, mass transit is better because it makes it so there's less traffic. More people are in one space. But the important thing that I'd like to look at is this entertainment corridor has resulted in a lot of discussion. And just last week, Fred Smith voted to raise taxes. We now have an additional 2% transient occupancy tax that's going to be assessed. Now, that affects two different layers. The first layer is if you wish to now go and enjoy a weekend for your birthday or your anniversary at the new hotel, the Stanford Hotel, the Aloft Hotel, or the Hilton that's being built, you now have to pay more to enjoy that. It's a fact. The second issue is that we are officially competing against Anaheim, against Disneyland. And the fact of the matter is, when we're looking at places and opportunities, we need to be trying to get our residents to come to the city of Buena Park. I do not believe that by raising taxes on the people of Buena Park or the other patrons that may come to Buena Park is a successful way of doing it. I believe the beautification project is great, but I do believe that the entertainment corridor should be looked at and handled in perpetuity with the goal of economic prosperity for the future of Buena Park.
Ms. Sani?
The entertainment corridor is going to bring a lot of people who need to be moved from one area to another. And I've seen a lot of nice trolley systems in cities that really add to the character and the flavor of the city. But my primary concern about that is that you're carrying people in a very limited space. And we also have to be concerned about the traffic and transit problems of people going in and out of the city. So I would be concerned about the cost and how it might impact other transit systems. So I think we'd have to look very carefully at whether we would want to do something like that.
Excuse me, could I rebut the answer?
Go ahead.
Okay, for one thing, you need to know the law. Tax law state Prop 218 requires the vote of any raising of any taxes to go to the people. So we cannot raise taxes. And the taxes he's talking about is the TMD, which is a hotel voted 100% to tax themselves. It's not a city tax. So residents are immune from that. It has nothing to do with it. So we didn't raise taxes for our citizens. We approved the TMD tax for our strip on Beach Boulevard, and the motels did it for themselves, and they're taxing themselves. We are not taxing anybody here, especially myself. So I don't know where the information comes from, but no, we are not. Prop 218 does not allow the city council to raise taxes on anybody. The only way taxes can be raised is it by a vote of the people.
I need to rebut
All
to
right,
that. No,
next-
but what he
next-
said is blatantly false.
Next
The
question,
people
Mr.
will
Sal-
have to pay.
Mr. Salehigh.
Mr. Smith,
Mr.
will you
Salehigh.
have to pay an additional 2% if you stay at these hotels from now on? Did you vote for this
Mr.
or not?
Salehigh, please,
All right.
let's confine this to the
Oh.
questions that are being asked. This is not
I just felt that since he got a rebuttal, it would
no.
be fair I could get one
Well-
too. But I guess we don't play fair.
You had your say.
Right. Yes, that's right.
Okay, what can you offer as a city council member to improve any outdated technologies in our city? Ms. Sani, you want to start?
My entire career has been spent in information technologies. And so I have a great deal of faith and attraction to technological advances. I personally, in my job, was responsible for creating an electronic ordering system for a $120 million food show and bringing thousands of people into the future with that sort of electronic advancement. I believe in technology. I believe there's a lot of things that we can do. We can certainly provide opportunities to get more input from our community by using computers. And we can also provide more information to our residents in what's going on in the city via technology, and I'd like to see us expand it. Thank you.
Yes, the City of Buena Park and our City Council, we look at new technology almost every council meeting. We're always trying to upgrade all of our systems because technology is our future, and we are doing all the upgrades we possibly can. In all of our departments, the number one thing is training, teaching people how to work computers and the new technology. Now, when they go out onto a job, they actually can look at their iPad with a GPS system and actually know what's under the ground there. If they have a pipe and if they got a problem, they know where to go to. So as far as technology, we're trying to be number one in the city of Buena Park.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes, in my day-to-day world, I actually use a computer most of the days, 5 days out of the week. And one of the things I've found out is either software or hardware will change in our environment, our living environment, no matter what we do, whether it's at home or having fun or at work even. And it's a daily struggle for us to even keep up with the minor and major changes in programming and hardware. And I think that on a day-to-day basis, I try my best to keep up with the changes in programming. And I infuse my input into our purchasing processes at work in order to purchase the best hardware, software that we have available to us at any given time.
Say hi.
My background is completely in technology. I have developed and patented multiple technology systems, from which I've actually helped one project in Europe called Project Red Hot. There was a pornography system that was online. I helped take it down and establish a international trade organization for clothing under N. Brown Corporation, which is a blue chip stock. I later came out here, created a biotech company where we are able to look at patients from remote access locations, and we've also licensed that technology now to UCLA. I like to see technology innovation at its highest form on a civic level. As I mentioned, I'd like to have an open government site for that the people to be able to interact, to actually have access to their democracy and to their systems, be able to share their opinion, to make things, unfortunately or fortunately, more fair, because I think that ultimately the voice of one voter counts, and it is important to have an established fairness, whether it's regarding their own personal life, their taxes, or the future developments for Buena Park.
Thank you. We will now have closing statements. If your question has not been answered, you may speak to the candidates out in the hall after their closing statements. Thank you so much for coming tonight. We hope that we've helped you make some decisions. We'll start with Mr. Salhai.
Well, I'm thankful to the League of Women Voters for having me here. I wanted to mention that I also have received the endorsement of the Orange County Professional Firefighters Association. Also, just last week, my family and I were awarded a certificate of appreciation for Landlord of Valor from the County of Riverside and also from HUD-VASH, a veterans association. We've been fighting rigorously to provide homeless veterans homes. We believe that the veterans do not need a handout, but they need a hand up. And together we can fight to end veterans homelessness by Veterans Day. We're looking to establish a newer system in Buena Park, and I think that newer system is for temperament. I love Fred Smith. If I see him, I love to have a drink with him. I hug him. I think he's a cool guy, but I do
don't
not
drink.
I do not believe in his policies. I think that there needs to be transparency. I think when there's a multi-million-dollar embezzlement scheme and checks were written to dead people from the Parks and Rec Department, that automatically should disqualify someone from being mayor. I'm
Thank you,
looking for
Mr.
that
Salehigh.
transparency, and if you want, vote for me. VoteSaleHigh.com.
Mr. Gonzalez.
Yes, my name is Paul Gonzalez. I've been in Buena Park for 25 years plus. Former traffic commissioner, former planning commissioner. I live right here on Pierce Circle, just south of Crescent, with my wife Sandra and my daughters Paulina and Emily, who attend Centralia Elementary. I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for sponsoring this event. I'd like to thank the city staff, especially Shalise, for helping out. I'd like to thank the city council, including Fred Smith, for providing this wonderful venue for us to voice our opinion on certain items. And I'd like to thank those watching at home. I encourage you to vote. Vote your conscience. Please vote for Paul Gonzalez, candidate number 4 for District number 3 of Buena Park. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Smith?
Yes, whether I'm cooking pancakes for 1,000 people or raising money for local clubs or charities, providing food for disadvantaged families, or presiding over a council meeting here at City Hall. The best part of serving the people of Buena Park for the past 30 years has been the opportunity to meet people, make new friends, and my phone number is listed on my website, which is www.vote4fredsmith.com. If you don't use the internet, please call me on my cell phone, which is area code 714-553-3211. I'd love to hear your ideas and how we can work together to make Buena Park an even greater community. When I first asked for your support 8 years ago, I was committed to ensuring the quality of life for all of our residents, from our children to our seniors. With your vote November 8th, I pledge to continue making Buena Park a better place to live, work, play, and raise our families. Thank you. But the city employees here in the city of Buena Park have so much faith in me. When I was mayor the first time, we put Rudy Juarez in jail for 10 years for embezzling over $1 million, and we were made whole by our insurance because we tried to put all the backstops we possibly can into
Thank
our
you, Mr.
employees.
Smith. Thank you. Ms. Sani?
My name is Susan Sani. I'm running for City Council in District 3. Thank you very much for having me here tonight. Thank you for watching, those of you who will watch the video later. We have lots of new challenges that we will be facing in Buena Park and as a part of a region of Orange County. Cost of living, housing density, traffic, homelessness, crime, all of those challenges require people who will think creatively, innovatively, who will work collaboratively with other people in the region, and who will listen to the voters, who will listen to the residents of Buena Park and make sure that the will of the people is what happens in Buena Park. You can find out more about me at susansani.org, and I am first on the ballot, the only woman, and I would appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Thank you very much, candidates. That concludes our evening.
Thank you.